reputation or face. The dictionaries also agree that blasphemy is somehow religious, defining blasphemy as profane speaking, or speaking sacrilegiously about God or sacred things. The repetition of words like sacrilege, stealing or violating sacred things, and profanation, a word derived from the Latin outside the temple, fanum, reinforces a general vague sense that blasphemy is somehow about disrespecting or being outside or against gods and sacred spaces and holy things. Blasphemy is a very open concept, leaving a great deal of room for maneuver and interpretation. Who counts as sacred? Who counts as sacred enough to be protected? How offensive must a speech or act be to register as a blasphemy? Can blasphemies and punishments be ranked on a scale from mild to harsh, like the classification of hard and soft, Class A and Class B, drugs, or degrees of injury and pain? And how can a sensation of pain be shared? By definition, blasphemy seems to be in the ears and eyes of the receiver. This is a concept that tends to rely on the witness of those, gods or people, who feel they have been hurt, defamed, or those who speak on their behalf. It is a concept, therefore, that is likely to get us guessing about the experiences and feelings of other people, and maybe even gods. Blasphemous crucifixions. In an obscenity trial in the USA in 1964, the Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart controversially announced, "I know obscenity when I see it." On a recent birthday trip to a hugely popular West End show, my son and I felt about as sure as one could possibly be that we had seen something blasphemous, meaning something that we felt that other people, as we imagined them, could see as blasphemous. As someone who has studied blasphemy for over 10 years, I was particularly impressed with how energetically the musical ticked all the boxes. There was a particularly enthusiastic performance of cursing God, an extremely irreverent take on that common, blasphemous practice of mixing holy figures and animals, in this case, a frog, and plenty of unorthodox sex. But this musical has not, in fact, been tagged with #blasphemy, and happily plays in the West End, while Richard Thomas and Stuart Lee's Jerry Springer the Opera was consigned to relative oblivion by Christian protesters. So what makes a blasphemy? It might help to look at some key ideas using the example of Jesus on the cross. Crucifixion was a Roman device for physical and social torture. Just like blasphemy, crucifixion involved defacing the public persona, turning him, and occasionally her, into a grotesque living caricature. As Seneca observes, bodies were crucified in a range of humiliating positions, upside down, or with the arms stretched out on a forked gibbet, or with the genitals impaled. To mock his lofty social status, one victim was crucified on a big white cross. Jesus' messianic claims were brutally parodied in the crown of thorns and the notice, "The King of the Jews." Figure 1 shows the ritual humiliation of the Quaker James Naylor, convicted of blasphemous actions, derogatory to the honor of God, and destructive to humane society, for imitating the Passion of Christ by riding into Bristol with his followers on a donkey on Palm Sunday, 1656. Having narrowly escaped execution, 82 voted for execution and 96 against, Naylor was whipped through the streets, then forced to stand in the pillory, which looked very like a cross. His forehead was stigmatized, or branded with a letter B for blasphemer, and his tongue was bored through with a hot iron. Quaker accounts lament the crucifixion of their leader. Naylor put a piece of paper on his forehead. It is written, Luke, chapter 23, verse 38. This is the King of the Jews.